Hello, my name is Michael Edwards. I'm a student at Boise State University. We were given a project to take a look to see what TVC TV, how it's best able to serve the Boise area and community. But before I get into that subject very much, we're going to watch a video here about public access TV and the history of it in the U.S.
Remember that the vast majority of the media that we see and hear is controlled by just a handful of massive corporations, many of whom are the very same corporations trying to sell us their products through advertising. And remember that for the most part, these corporations are run by wealthy, white men. Even if they are good, honest people who care about the world, the system is inherently biased to favor those in control. The United States is an exceedingly diverse country. There are so many races, religions, languages, philosophies, family structures, political outlooks, sexual identities, economic classes, and more. This is the very thing that makes our country so great. One would assume that television programming in the U.S. would be just as varied, but it isn't. It often feels like this is the result of personal prejudices among the ranks of those that control the media, but the problem is actually much larger and more systemic than this. Let's look closer. TV shows are expensive. Networks are able to cover the costs of making and distributing their content by what is known as an economy of scale. What this means is that rather than making a unique show that focuses on the events and people from each individual community, shows are designed to appeal to as many people as possible, so they can be broadcast nationwide, allowing advertisers to reach the most viewers. The price of producing one program is paid for through this mass market approach. Magnitudes cheaper than producing programs for each individual interest group, racial group, economic status, and so on. This is how networks make a profit. Remember that the audience is the product, so the larger the audience for a given program, the more valuable the advertising time is during that show. If a TV show, be it entertainment, documentary, even the news, is not embraced and viewed by enough consumers, advertisers will not pay to place ads in that show, and thus TV networks cannot afford to broadcast it. For this reason, unpopular shows, even unpopular information, will never have a place in mainstream media. So not only do poorer communities get ignored, but alternative and minority groups are largely left out as well. In order to create an alternative media system that truly represents the diversity of America, we need a new model. A new approach that frees us from the biases and constraints of the advertising model, and a new, more distributed ownership structure that includes all communities. Everyone understands the danger of allowing the government to have complete control over the media. We live in a democratic society, and democracy can only work if the voters are able to make informed decisions. We've seen from history what can happen when the government itself is in control of the information voters receive. Fewer people, unfortunately, understand the danger of allowing corporations to have complete control over the media. We live in a capitalist society, and capitalism can only work if the consumers are able to make informed decisions about their purchases. When the companies that control the primary sources of information in society are the very same organizations trying to sell us their products, they're able to decide what messages do and do not get heard. They manipulate the market, and capitalism suffers.
Your mouth feels clean, your throat refreshed. Why don't you switch from hot to the snow-fresh coolness of Cool? As cool and as clean as a breath of fresh air. Filter Cool.
In the early 1970s, when the cable television industry was new and growing quickly, the government recognized these and other shortcomings of the model and set out to make some rules to ensure that television not only satisfied the advertisers, but also served some basic social needs. This was the birth of public access television. The government knew that the cable television companies would be using public infrastructure paid for with our taxes to conduct their business, things like running cable on power lines and public land. This means that private companies would be able to profit by using things that everyone owns. Media visionaries worked with the FCC and later Congress to require cable television companies to provide 3 kinds of non-commercial channels to the communities they were operating in. The goal wasn't to eliminate the corporate media model, but to ensure that a small portion of our cable channels be reserved for important content that they knew the advertising model could never support, including local government, educational, and a third type of non-commercial channels called public access. With subsequent laws, it was determined that these PEG channels would be funded by the cable conglomerates, municipal governments, or a blend of both. Ideally, public access is an inclusive, content-neutral, free speech conduit with training, equipment access, and broadcast opportunities for everyone in the community. And all of this is free or very low cost. Public access television was the first real opportunity for unique programming, uncommon points of view, or unpopular shows serving smaller segments of the population to get onto television. In this model, there is no need to question whether a program will bring profits to advertisers. Thus, public access provides an alternative avenue that is not vulnerable to the inherent biases and restrictions of the corporate model. Remember that the vast majority of the media that we see and hear is controlled by just a handful.
I hope you enjoyed that video. As we can see, public access TV allows local community access to media outlets that they normally wouldn't have access to. And you may ask yourself, even in this day and age where we have YouTube and we have online resources, could people use those instead? Well, even the current census shows that 24% of the country still doesn't have internet access, and those that don't all have broadband access and ability to upload and download videos very easily. So as far as public access TV, it allows individuals to address the local community. It allows them to address not just the local community, but government, and allows them to communicate to the local government and to local businesses, which are some of the most important things that public access TV fulfills. In addition to that, it displays local talent and local culture, which is the most important resource of the Boise Valley, is the people of the valley, the people of the Boise area. And public access TV gives people that access so they can communicate it out to local government and the rest of the community. And as we can see, as more people gain access to internet and mobile devices, in addition to that, people's ability to communicate and then to pull on the internet, it grows more and more. And so I believe that TVC TV should explore avenues and ways they can use that medium in addition. Well, that was my show on how TVC TV can best serve the Boise Valley. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you got some ideas about how you could participate in this medium too.